You grew up down the street with Diana Ross.
Yeah, man.
At the age of 84, Smokey Robinson has at last validated what we had long suspected. His shady relationship with Diana Ross and his scandalous extramarital affairs are now officially no longer rumors, but confirmed by Smokey Robinson himself. In addition, he also revealed financial and health difficulties that the media has never heard of. Take a deep breath to listen to Smokey Robinson's revelations. When talking about Smokey Robinson's history of adultery, Diana Ross is an indispensable name on his list. In an interview with The Guardian published on April 27th, Smokey himself opened up about a past affair with Diana Ross, the iconic lead singer of the Supremes. This revelation adds a new layer to the storied history of Motown, a label that not only shaped the music industry but also played a significant role in the personal lives of its artists. Indeed, Robinson candidly discussed the affair, which he says lasted for about a year, during the early years of his marriage to his first wife, Claudette Rogers. The two married in 1959 when Robinson was just 19 years old, marking the beginning of what would be a long and tumultuous relationship. The marriage lasted until 1986, enduring the many ups and downs that come with being in the spotlight and the music industry. Reflecting on his relationship with Ross, Robinson described their affair as something that just happened. He emphasized that there was no premeditation or intention behind it. "I was married at the time. We were working together and it just happened," he shared. His words paint a picture of two young artists, both deeply immersed in their careers, finding themselves drawn to each other in a moment of vulnerability and connection. The affair, as Robinson described it, was beautiful, and something he still cherishes. "She's a beautiful lady, and I love her right till today. She's one of my closest people," he said, underscoring the deep bond that continues to exist between them. Robinson's relationship with Ross goes beyond their brief romantic involvement. He played a crucial role in her career, helping to bring her to Motown, the label that would eventually make her a household name. At the time, Ross was a young artist trying to make a name for herself, and Robinson, already established at Motown, was in a position to offer guidance and support. "She was young and trying to get her career together. I was trying to help her. I brought her to Motown, in fact," Robinson explained. This mentor-mentee dynamic likely contributed to the closeness they shared, both professionally and personally. In addition, Robinson added that their romantic involvement, which he previously described as beautiful, ultimately came to an end because Ross herself decided to break it off. After they had been seeing each other for a while, Ross, recognizing the situation's emotional intricacies, chose to step away from the affair. Robinson recounted that Ross ended their relationship because she was aware of the deep bond between Robinson and his wife, Claudette Rogers. "Diana said to me she couldn't do that because she knew Claudette, and she knew I still loved my wife," Robinson recalled. This moment reflects the respect and understanding Ross had for both Robinson and his marriage. Despite their mutual feelings, Ross's decision underscores a significant aspect of her character, her awareness of the larger picture and the potential emotional impact on those involved. Robinson, too, acknowledged that his love for his wife remained intact during this period, despite the affair. "And I did. I loved my wife very much," he affirmed, emphasizing the complicated nature of human emotions, where love for more than one person can coexist. The decision to end their romantic relationship appears to have been a difficult but necessary step for both Robinson and Ross. It highlights the often unspoken complexities of relationships, especially when they involve people who share deep connections beyond mere romance. The fact that Ross took the initiative to end the affair out of consideration for Robinson's marriage speaks volumes about her integrity and the respect she had for Claudette Rogers. In the same interview, Robinson also addressed a bizarre rumor that has swirled in some circles for years, that he and Diana Ross are the real parents of Michael Jackson. Robinson responded to the claim with a mix of amusement and disbelief. "They say I'm the baby daddy?" he exclaimed, laughing at the absurdity of the suggestion. "Hey, hey, 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 hoo, hoo, ho. They say Diana Ross and I had Michael? Oh my God, I never heard that one, man. That's pretty good. That's funny. That's funny." His reaction, filled with humor and lightheartedness, underscores the outlandish nature of the rumor, which he clearly finds entertaining rather than offensive. Robinson even joked about calling Ross to ask if she had heard the rumor, further indicating that their relationship remains one of mutual respect and good humor. His ability to laugh off such a wild claim shows a grounded perspective on the often outlandish nature of celebrity gossip and the fantastical stories that can sometimes emerge about public figures. During this conversation, Robinson also took the opportunity to reflect on broader themes of love and aging. At 84, he has lived a life filled with experiences that have shaped his understanding of relationships. He shared a poignant insight. "I learned that we are capable of loving more than one person at the same time." This statement is both a reflection on his past and a broader commentary on the nature of love itself. Robinson suggests that the capacity to love multiple people is a natural part of the human experience, even if society often views it as taboo. He went on to explain that the taboo around loving more than one person simultaneously is something created by societal norms, not by the inherent nature of love. "It has been made taboo by us, by people. It's not because one person isn't worthy or they don't live up to what you expect," he continued. For Robinson, love is about feelings that can't always be controlled or neatly compartmentalized. He touches on the vulnerability that comes with love, noting that if people could control their feelings, they might choose to avoid love altogether to protect themselves from the potential for pain. "If we could control love, nobody would love anybody. Nobody would take that chance," he said, articulating the inherent risk and reward that comes with opening one's heart to another. One of the more revealing aspects of Robinson's personal journey is his admission to having multiple affairs during his 26-year marriage to his first wife, Claudette Rogers. This period in Robinson's life reflects the complicated interplay between love, desire, and the pressures of a life lived in the public eye. Robinson's marriage to Claudette Rogers, who was also a member of the Miracles, began in 1959, just as Motown was starting to take off. Their marriage, which lasted until 1986, was marked by both professional collaboration and personal challenges. The couple shared not just their lives, but their careers, navigating the demanding world of the music industry together. However, Robinson's confessions of infidelity reveal the strain that such a life can impose on personal relationships. While deeply in love with Rogers, Robinson's affairs point to the complexities and contradictions that can exist within even the most committed relationships. Despite the difficulties and the eventual end of his marriage to Rogers, Robinson found love again. In 2002, he married his current wife, Frances Gladney. Their marriage, now over 2 decades strong, represents a new chapter in Robinson's life, one where he continues to explore the theme of love in both his personal life and his music. Robinson's ability to find love again after a tumultuous first marriage speaks to his enduring belief in the power of love, a belief that remains at the core of his identity both as a person and as an artist. This commitment to love as a central theme is evident in Robinson's most recent work, including his latest album, Gasms. Released in 2023, Gasms marks Robinson's 26th studio album and his first in almost a decade. The album, much like Robinson's life, is steeped in themes of love and desire, but with a twist that only an artist of Robinson's caliber could deliver. During an appearance on the Today Show on April 27th, Robinson spoke about the album, shedding light on both its creation and its provocative title. "It took me about 5 years to compile this particular album," Robinson revealed, emphasizing the care and thought that went into its production. The title Gasms is deliberately provocative, designed to stir conversation and invite interpretation. Robinson admitted that he was looking forward to the album's release precisely because he wanted it to cause controversy. "I wanted it to cause controversy," he said, with a mischievous smile, reflecting his playful approach to the themes explored in the album. The title itself, Gasms, is meant to be a Rorschach test for the listener. "It's about whatever you want it to be about," Robinson explained, laughing. "That's exactly why I did that. Form your own opinion. You tell me what it's about." This invitation for interpretation is quintessential Robinson, an artist who has always encouraged his audience to engage deeply with his music, finding their own meanings in his lyrics and melodies. Gasms, like much of Robinson's work, is not just an album. It's an experience, a journey through the many facets of love and desire. The title, with its obvious connotations, might suggest a focus on the physical aspects of love, but Robinson's music has always been about more than just the surface. His songs often explore the emotional, spiritual, and even philosophical dimensions of love, inviting listeners to reflect on their own experiences and feelings. Robinson's decision to craft an album that invites controversy and discussion is a testament to his confidence as an artist and his understanding of the power of music to provoke thought and emotion. After decades in the industry, Robinson remains not just relevant but daring, unafraid to push boundaries and challenge his audience. This willingness to take risks, both personally and professionally, is what has kept Robinson at the forefront of the music industry for so long. As he continues to put love at the base of his work, Robinson's music remains a testament to his enduring belief in the power of love to shape and define our lives. Whether it's the love that led to his multiple affairs during his first marriage, the love that he found again with his second wife, or the love that he explores in his music, Robinson's life and work are a celebration of love in all its forms, complex, contradictory, and ultimately deeply human. In addition to rumors related to Smokey Robinson's infidelity, his father is also another shocking topic in his life. Reportedly, his father, William Robinson, Sr., grew up in an era and place where racial tensions and injustices were a part of daily life. As a young boy, William took on the job of delivering newspapers, a common job for many children at the time, to help support his family. Starting at the age of 10, he would work hard each week to earn a meager income. However, the money he made was often stolen from him by a white teenager who was 5 years older. The elder Robinson, being black in the Jim Crow South, had no real recourse to stop the bullying and theft. The power dynamics of the time were heavily skewed against him, making it nearly impossible for a young black boy to seek justice in a society that was deeply entrenched in racism. The theft of his hard-earned money was a harsh reality that young William had to endure. Despite the fear and frustration that must have come with each encounter, he felt powerless to change his situation. The idea of reporting the older boy to the authorities was not even an option, as the justice system in early 20th century Alabama was far from impartial. Any attempt to seek help from law enforcement would likely have been met with indifference or even hostility, given the pervasive racial prejudices of the time. William Robinson, Sr., was the youngest child in his family, and the weight of this burden fell heavily on his young shoulders. He considered telling his older brothers about the problem, hoping that they might be able to intervene. However, he was keenly aware of the potential consequences. In the South during that era, the mere act of a black boy standing up to a white bully could provoke violent retaliation from the white community. William knew that if his brothers took action against the thief, it could lead to deadly consequences for his family. The threat of a mob of white people storming the Robinson home with the intent to beat or kill members of his family was a very real possibility. Faced with this grim reality, William decided not to involve his brothers. Instead, he chose a different path, one that would ultimately change the course of his life. At the age of 12, Unable to endure the constant theft and the ever-present threat of violence any longer, William Robinson Sr. made the difficult decision to leave his home in Selma. It was a decision born out of necessity, driven by the harsh and unforgiving world that he found himself in. Reportedly for 2 years, young William Robinson Sr. endured the relentless torment of being bullied and robbed by a white teenager 5 years his senior. This older boy, who was 17 by the time William was 12, would regularly steal the meager earnings that William made from delivering newspapers. As a black boy in the Jim Crow South, William had no real recourse. Complaining to authorities was not an option, as the justice system was overwhelmingly biased against black people. The systemic racism of the time left him with few options, forcing him to endure this bullying silently while harboring a growing sense of fear and frustration. After 2 long years of suffering, William decided that he could no longer tolerate the situation. He took matters into his own hands, displaying a resolve that would ultimately shape his future. Robinson recounted to DJ Vlad the pivotal moment when his father made the fateful decision to defend himself. William purchased a Boy Scout knife, a small but potentially lethal weapon, and waited for the next inevitable confrontation with his tormentor. Not long after payday, the 17-year-old bully confronted William once again, demanding his hard-earned money. This time, however, William was prepared. When the bully shoved him to the ground in an attempt to steal from him, William pulled out the knife and, in an act of sheer desperation, plunged the blade into the older boy's leg. The bully's screams of pain echoed through the streets, marking the end of his reign of terror over young William. The physical attack not only stopped the thefts, but also served as a powerful message that William was no longer willing to be a victim. However, the short-lived relief from the bullying was quickly overshadowed by a new and more terrifying fear. William knew that his actions could provoke severe retaliation. In the racially charged atmosphere of Selma, Alabama, a black boy stabbing a white teenager, even in self-defense, could lead to violent repercussions not just for him, but for his entire family. The fear of a potential mob attack, a real and ever-present danger in the South at that time, loomed large in his mind. Faced with this terrifying prospect, the 12-year-old William made the heart-wrenching decision to leave his home and family behind. Believing that staying in Selma would put his loved ones at risk, he walked to the railroad tracks and hopped a train out of town, embarking on a journey into the unknown. William would spend the rest of his teenage years living as a transient, moving from place to place with no permanent home. It was a life marked by uncertainty and hardship, but it was the only path he saw to protect his family from the violence that might have ensued had he stayed. By the age of 19, William had finally settled in Cleveland, Ohio, a city far removed from the dangers and memories of his childhood in Selma. According to Smokey Robinson, his father never returned to Selma after that fateful day. The decision to leave was final, a definitive break from a past that was too painful and dangerous to revisit. William's life as a young runaway was undoubtedly difficult, but it was a choice driven by a deep sense of responsibility and love for his family, a choice that likely saved their lives. As the interview continued, Smokey Robinson reflected on the emotional toll that his father's departure must have taken on his grandmother. Although Robinson expressed sympathy for his father's situation, it was his grandmother's pain that seemed to resonate most deeply with him. The thought of her youngest child running away, never to be seen again, was a source of profound sorrow for Robinson. He spoke of how horrible it must have been for her to lose her son in such a way, the uncertainty of his fate lingering in her heart for the rest of her life. Let's put aside the interesting story about Smokey Robinson's father. Now it's time to clarify his addiction. In a revealing interview with Vlad TV, he also opened up about some of the darker periods of his life, offering a rare glimpse into the struggles that even the most successful and celebrated figures can face. Known for his smooth voice, timeless hits, and significant contributions to the music industry, Robinson's admission about his battles with substance abuse came as a sobering reminder of the toll that fame and the pressures of the entertainment world can take on an individual. During the interview, Robinson spoke candidly about his experiences with alcohol and drugs. He noted that he almost never drank alcohol, a decision that might come as a surprise to many, given the pervasive drinking culture often associated with the music industry. However, he did admit to turning to other substances, revealing that cannabis was initially his drug of choice. This admission highlights a common trend among musicians and artists of the era, where marijuana was widely used as a means of relaxation and creative inspiration. But as the conversation progressed, Robinson revealed that his substance use didn't stop with marijuana. When asked by the interviewer if he had ever added crack cocaine to his marijuana usage, Robinson was quick to clarify. Yes, it was cocaine, he stated, making it clear that it was this powerful and highly addictive drug that played a significant role in his life during that period. His openness about his drug use is particularly striking, given the stigma and secrecy that often surround discussions of addiction, especially among public figures. Robinson went on to describe the profound impact that cocaine had on his life, painting a vivid picture of his physical and emotional deterioration during those years. He referred to himself as a walking corpse more than half a century ago, a phrase that poignantly captures the depth of his addiction and the extent to which it had consumed him. By his own admission, his situation had become dire. His physical appearance, once the epitome of health and style, had deteriorated to the point where he was unrecognizable even to himself. The singer revealed that at his lowest, he weighed a mere 120 pounds despite being 5 feet 11 inches, a stark and alarming contrast that illustrated the severe toll his drug habit had taken on his body. The physical manifestations of his addiction were impossible to ignore. Robinson confessed that he had resorted to using safety pins to hold his pants up, as his drastic weight loss had left him unable to find clothes that fit. This small yet telling detail paints a vivid picture of the extent of his decline. He would hide the safety pins by letting his shirt hang down, a symbolic gesture that reflected his attempts to conceal the true state of his life from those around him. It was as though he was trying to cover up the cracks in his facade, to maintain some semblance of normalcy even as his world was falling apart. Robinson described this period of his life as being in dire straits, acknowledging how ridiculous his situation had become. Despite his fame, his talent, and the adoration of fans worldwide, he found himself trapped in a cycle of addiction that seemed impossible to break. The weight of his circumstances bore down on him, leading to feelings of self-loathing and shame. He hated himself for allowing his life to spiral out of control, for becoming someone he barely recognized. The mid-1980s marked a turning point for Robinson, a time when he began to confront the demons that had haunted him for so long. He noted that by this time, he had managed to kick his drug habit, but not without enduring immense psychological pain. The loss of his father, whom he described as "my man," was a significant blow. The death of Marvin Gaye, a close friend and fellow Motown legend, further compounded his grief. These events, along with other personal struggles, had a profound impact on Robinson's mental health, though he admitted that he did not fully grasp the extent of their influence at the time. The psychological toll of these losses, coupled with the pressures of his career and the pervasive culture of substance use in the music industry, pushed Robinson deeper into his addiction. It was only later, as he began to emerge from the haze of his drug use, that he realized how much these events had contributed to his downward spiral. The singer's admission of not recognizing the psychological impact these tragedies had on him speaks to the insidious nature of addiction, which often masks the underlying pain that fuels it. Robinson's journey to sobriety reached a pivotal moment in 1986, a year that would prove to be transformative for the legendary artist. Desperate for a way out of his addiction, Robinson turned to his faith. He recounted a powerful experience that took place one night when he decided to attend church. At that point, Robinson identified himself as a junkie, fully aware of the hold that cocaine and marijuana had on his life. Yet, something compelled him to seek solace in the sanctuary of the church. What happened next is nothing short of remarkable. Robinson described walking into the church that night still hooked on drugs, carrying the weight of his addiction with him. But by the time he walked out, he was free. The transformation was immediate and profound, an experience that Robinson attributes to the power of prayer and the intervention of a minister who prayed for him. For Robinson, this moment was nothing less than miraculous, a turning point that marked the beginning of his new life free from the chains of addiction. That's not all. In a recent appearance on The View, Smokey Robinson ignited a firestorm of discussion and controversy with his remarks about racial identity and cultural contributions. At 84, Robinson's career has spanned decades of musical innovation and cultural influence, but his comments on race and identity have sparked a significant debate, particularly on social media. During his virtual appearance, Robinson made a statement that resonated deeply with many and provoked strong reactions from others. He asserted that black is a race and expressed his resentment at being called African American. Robinson's perspective on this issue reflects a broader discussion about racial identity and the language used to describe it. I resent being called African American because black people have contributed so much to the development of the United States of America, Robinson said. This statement is rooted in his belief that the term African American may, in some contexts, undermine or diminish the substantial contributions that black individuals have made to the fabric of American society. Robinson's argument is that the term might inadvertently isolate or separate the identity of black Americans from their integral role in the country's history and culture. Robinson's comments are part of a larger conversation about the language used to describe race and ethnicity. For many, the term African American is a symbol of cultural heritage and historical acknowledgement, emphasizing the connection to African ancestry and the unique experiences of black Americans. However, Robinson's viewpoint suggests that focusing on the term black might be a way to assert a more universal identity that acknowledges the contributions of black people across the board, rather than associating them with a specific historical or geographical lineage. The controversy surrounding Robinson's remarks is not new. Nearly 2 decades ago, he addressed similar themes during an appearance on Russell Simmons' Deaf Poetry. In that setting, Robinson recited a poem intended to shed light on the black experience, hoping to educate others about the historical and cultural significance of black contributions. His recent comments echo this earlier sentiment, indicating a long-standing perspective on racial identity and cultural contribution. The reaction to Robinson's statements has been polarized. On social media, some have supported his viewpoint, agreeing that the term black more accurately reflects a broad and inclusive identity that recognizes the universal impact of black Americans. These supporters argue that Robinson's frustration with the term African American stems from a desire to emphasize the significant role that black people have played in shaping American history and culture, independent of the specific term used to describe their identity. Conversely, others have taken issue with Robinson's comments, arguing that the term African American is an important identifier that acknowledges the complex history and experiences of black people in the United States. For many, this term carries historical weight and represents a collective identity that includes both African heritage and American experiences. Critics of Robinson's stance may feel that dismissing African American undermines the importance of recognizing the unique struggles and contributions of this group. The debate around Robinson's remarks highlights a broader discussion about racial identity and the evolving language used to describe it. As society continues to grapple with questions of identity, representation, and historical acknowledgement, such conversations become increasingly relevant. Robinson's comments invite reflection on how best to honor the contributions of Black Americans while acknowledging their diverse experiences and identities. Robinson's position on this issue also reflects his personal journey and experiences. Throughout his career, he has been a prominent figure in celebrating Black culture and its contributions to the arts and society. His perspective on racial identity is likely shaped by his own experiences and observations, as well as his deep understanding of the cultural and historical context of Black America. Did you know about Smokey Robinson's childhood difficulties? If not, here's what you need to know. Growing up in Detroit during the formative years of his career, Smokey Robinson faced a challenging environment that was far from the glamorous world of music stardom that he would eventually come to know. His early life was marked by a series of harrowing experiences that vividly illustrate the struggles and dangers faced by young people in a turbulent urban landscape. At that time, Robinson and his musical group were in the early stages of their journey, still striving to make a name for themselves in the competitive music industry. The financial rewards of success were not yet within reach, and their aspirations were often overshadowed by the harsh realities of their surroundings. Despite their growing talent and ambition, Robinson and his bandmates were not immune to the societal issues affecting their community. Robinson's recollections reveal a stark contrast between his own path and the paths taken by some of his friends. While he was focused on building his career and staying out of trouble, many of those around him were entangled in criminal activities. The story of one particular friend is both tragic and telling. This friend, influenced by the allure of easy gains, attempted to steal Christmas cards from the back seat of a car. This seemingly minor crime ended in a devastating confrontation with the police, resulting in his death. Robinson's account underscores the severe risks associated with a life of crime and the tragic consequences that can arise from seemingly small decisions. The story of his friend's death is a somber reflection on the violent reality faced by many young people in Detroit at the time. The attempt to steal Christmas cards, a seemingly innocent act, culminated in a fatal encounter with law enforcement, highlighting the precarious and often dangerous situations that individuals can find themselves in when caught up in criminal activities. In addition to these harrowing experiences, Robinson recounted a particularly traumatic incident involving a fight during a baseball game with some white kids. The fight escalated to the point where baseball bats were used as weapons, resulting in severe injuries. Robinson described this event as a turning point in his life, one that profoundly impacted his attitude toward violence. "It was horrible, even when I look back on it," Robinson said. "I'd never been in a fight where boys were hitting each other in the head with baseball bats and knocking each other out with baseball bats." This encounter, marked by its brutality and senselessness, left an indelible mark on him. The intensity of the violence in this fight was a shocking experience for Robinson. It was not just the physicality of the confrontation, but the sheer chaos and brutality of using baseball bats as weapons that left him deeply unsettled. "That kind of stuff, it was just crazy," Robinson reflected. The experience served as a powerful deterrent, leading him to abandon any inclination toward participating in similar group violence in the future. "That fighting with a group of guys and stuff like that was horrible, so I never did that again. Ever," he stated. The term "scared straight" aptly describes the transformation Robinson underwent as a result of these experiences. The violence and danger he witnessed acted as a profound wake-up call, pushing him to distance himself from situations that could lead to further harm. His decision to avoid involvement in group fights and criminal activities illustrates how pivotal life experiences can shape one's choices and redirect one's path. One particularly telling aspect of Robinson's story is his firm stance against participating in such activities. They would come to me and say, "Hey man, come on, we're going to rob the gas station or something," he recounted. Despite the camaraderie and loyalty he felt towards these friends, Robinson's response was unequivocal. "No, I'm not robbing anything." This refusal to engage in criminal behavior speaks to a strong sense of personal responsibility and an understanding of the long-term consequences of such actions. Robinson's stance was not just about avoiding legal trouble, but also about setting a positive example for his own children. As a father, he established a clear rule for his children: never use peer pressure as an excuse for wrongdoing. His experiences growing up with friends who were involved in criminal activities provided him with a unique perspective on the issue. "When my kids were growing up, the one rule I had with them was never come to me telling me anything about peer pressure. That you did it because your friends did it or suggested that you do it," Robinson explained. Robinson's account reveals how his home became a central meeting point for his friends and family. The energy and activity within his house symbolized a sense of unity and belonging that was crucial in a neighborhood marked by both opportunity and hardship. Despite the challenges of the environment, Robinson's home provided a stable and welcoming space where people gathered to connect and share experiences. Among the frequent visitors were friends who, despite their affection and loyalty, sometimes found themselves entangled in less desirable activities. Robinson recounts that it was not uncommon for these friends to come by with small amounts of money, occasionally obtained through dubious means such as robbery. He acknowledges that some of these friends faced legal troubles, ending up in juvenile detention or even in jail, and tragically, some did not survive. Despite these circumstances, they remained a part of his life, and Robinson maintained a deep sense of affection for them. The presence of these friends, despite their varied life paths and the troubles they encountered, illustrates the strong bonds of friendship and the complexities of maintaining relationships in challenging environments. Robinson's ability to keep these connections alive, despite the often difficult situations his friends found themselves in, reflects his enduring commitment to those he cared about. Robinson's approach to his own children mirrored the lessons he had learned from his experiences. He emphasized the importance of discerning true friendship from superficial connections. "If your friends love you, they're your friends," he advised. "I mean, they don't care if you do wrong with them. If you don't do wrong with them, then you're not their friend, or they're not your friend." This philosophy underscores his belief that genuine friendships should not be contingent upon participating in negative or harmful behaviors. For Robinson, true friends should accept and value each other regardless of one's choices or mistakes. He was adamant about not tolerating excuses related to peer pressure. Robinson's stance was clear. If his children engaged in wrongdoing, he would hold them accountable for their actions without accepting the notion of peer pressure as an excuse. "If you come to me and you did it, I'm going to figure you did it because you wanted to," he stated. "So don't tell me about peer pressure because I don't believe in it." This approach reflects Robinson's commitment to personal responsibility and his rejection of excuses that could undermine accountability. Recently, Smokey Robinson has faced profound health challenges throughout his life, with one of the most significant being his battle with a rare and aggressive form of cancer. Indeed, in 2009, Robinson's world was turned upside down when he was diagnosed with a malignant tumor in his sinus cavity, a diagnosis that brought both personal fear and public concern. The journey began with the discovery of the tumor, which was situated in the sinus cavity, a sensitive and complex area of the body that can make treatment particularly challenging. This type of cancer, while rare, is notably aggressive and requires a meticulous and comprehensive approach to treatment. For Robinson, the diagnosis came as a shock, and the subsequent treatment process was fraught with uncertainty and anxiety. The impact of the diagnosis on Robinson was profound. As a beloved figure in the music industry, his health struggles were closely followed by fans and the media alike. The news of his illness not only concerned those who admired his musical contributions, but also added a layer of emotional weight to the situation. Robinson's ability to confront such a severe health issue while remaining a figure of hope and inspiration for many is a testament to his resilience and strength. Robinson's treatment for the malignant tumor involved a combination of medical interventions, including surgery and radiation therapy. These treatments, while essential for combating cancer, come with their own set of challenges and side effects. For Robinson, this period was marked by a grueling regimen of medical procedures and a significant physical and emotional toll. The treatments were aimed at eradicating the cancer while preserving as much of his quality of life as possible. Aside from health issues, finances are another problem that Smokey Robinson also faces. The roots of Robinson's financial troubles were multifaceted. As a high-profile entertainer, Robinson's career had seen various peaks and troughs, and the 1990s brought a set of challenges that tested his financial resilience. Despite his storied career and enduring popularity, the latter part of the decade presented a complex financial landscape for Robinson. One contributing factor to Robinson's financial difficulties was the changing dynamics within the music industry. The industry was undergoing significant transformations during the 1990s, with shifts in music consumption, emerging new genres, and evolving business models. As traditional revenue streams from record sales and live performances became less predictable, many artists, including Robinson, found themselves grappling with financial instability. Moreover, the economic downturn of the late 1990s affected many sectors, including the entertainment industry. The financial pressures of this period were compounded by broader economic challenges, which included fluctuating stock markets and reduced disposable income among consumers. For Robinson, these factors meant a drop in concert revenues, lower album sales, and a general decrease in the financial security that had once been a hallmark of his career. In addition to these industry-wide issues, Robinson faced personal financial strains that further complicated his situation. Managing a high-profile career often involves various financial responsibilities, including maintaining a team of professionals, managing investments, and handling personal expenditures. The strain of balancing these financial obligations against the backdrop of decreasing income and changing industry dynamics contributed to the difficulties Robinson experienced. The impact of these financial challenges extended beyond mere numbers. Robinson's public image and career stability were affected as well. As a prominent figure in the music industry, any financial difficulties could potentially influence public perception and professional opportunities. Media coverage and public speculation about Robinson's financial status may have affected his reputation, creating additional pressure and scrutiny. What do you think about the rumors and trouble that Smokey Robinson encountered? Leave us your comments in the section below. We hope you have found this helpful video. Don't forget to leave a like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you like it. Thank you for watching this and see you in the next videos. Goodbye.